Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It is Bookmas Day 13, and today I want to share with you guys the stuff that I am reading for my year-long reading plans, the events that go on all year long. This year I really want to focus on reading more in depth, not necessarily a whole bunch of deep reading, but more with the goal of whatever it is I do read, that I will take the time to really dig deep into it. Now, sometimes I'm just going to be reading something fluffy for fun, and of course, I probably won't do a deep dive, but one of the things that I feel like I missed out on this year, because I was trying to meet a number goal, I feel like in some cases I kind of just pushed through things quickly and just to get like, okay, I really want to read 8 books this month, right? So just to kind of get that 8th book in. And in the cases that I did take the time to really take good notes and to write out, you know, kind of the equivalent of an essay for myself, for my book journal, those books stuck with me, right? And I feel like I just pulled out a lot more from them because my intention was to really get, you know, deep into this book, you know, for the purposes of the essay or the video I was making or whatever. And I just want to do more of that in 2026. My reading goal in 2025 was 100 books, and I'm at 102. Don't think I've ever read 100 books in a year before. Before that, I think my highest reading year was 80 books, and that was the year that I spent the entire summer in my mom's attic because we were waiting for the house we were buying to come open, and we had nowhere to live. So I went and took my kids and stayed with my mom all summer. And I just read all summer long because I really didn't have a whole lot else to do. So the fact that I got through 100 books this year with everything else that I've had going on, I'm pretty proud of that. But I also know how much scrolling I did, how much mindless, you know, Facebook or games or, you know, just ridiculous things that I did online when I could have been reading. So I think 100 books is still a pretty good goal, but I think that I'm just going to move it down to 80 books for this year, just to give myself the ability to go very slow on certain books and take the time to write and think about them without worrying that I haven't read, you know, 8 or 10 books that month. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a number goal if that's what you want to do, but this year, rather than focusing so much on numbers, I would really like to focus more on retention and assimilation, right? What am I going to do with the information that I'm learning? So with that in mind, I have 5 year-long sort of events or plans, goals, whatever that is. I'll share those things with you guys tonight. And then in a different video, I will share about my Bible study plans for the year. And then in a different video, I will share about my January plans like I normally do each month. Now, a few months ago, I shared with you guys my 50 by 50 journal. And in this book, I have 50 books written down that I want to read by the time I turn 50. I turned 46 in October. And so I've read only one book from this list, and that was Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. And so I still have 49 to go. So that's a little more than one a month between now and then. And so one of the things that I'm going to do for this coming year is incorporate the 50 by 50 books into my goals for Anne's classic reading challenge at In Search of Wonder. And so she has prompts for each month. The theme of that classics challenge is 1776, and so the names of her prompts are all kind of like, you know, something that has to do with America, but the prompts themselves or the books themselves do not have to be, you know, completed by reading books that have to do with America. So I have written it in pencil in case I change my mind here, but this is the page spread for the 50 by 50 plus and reading the classics challenge. So here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. So in January, her prompt is a predicted 5-star read. That's really hard to do, especially since this list of 50 by 50s are books that I've, for one reason or another, felt like I wanted to read but wasn't super excited about reading for one reason or another. But one that I think might come close is The Once and Future King by T.H. White. So I put that in for January. This is a book that some of my kids have read for school and some of them have started and then quit. But one of my sort of research goals this coming year that I'll talk about a little bit is medieval history, Middle Ages. And so maybe this one will, because I'm interested in that right now, maybe this one will end up being a 5-star read. The February prompt is a funny book. And I don't know because I haven't read any of them, right? But I think I remember, I was listening to Mark, I think, at Book Time with Elvis, and I think he said that 3 Men in a Boat by Jerome Came Jerome is a funny book. So I put that on for February. For March, the prompt is a religious book, and I put down Utopia by Thomas More. He was a religious man, and the book, I think, talks about, religious, societal, political, utopian ideas. And so I put that one down. I also chose that one for March because March is March of the Mammoths, where you read something that is over 800 pages. So I wanted to give myself something really small, and Utopia is a really thin book. It's really more of an essay than anything else. All right, and then April, the prompt is a biography or a memoir. And I wrote down Out of Africa by Karen Blixen. That is a story that my mom has talked about a lot throughout my life. And so I do have a 2-piece collection, I guess if you can call 2 books a collection, from Karen Blixen, and it's Out of Africa, and then the other one is called 7 Gothic Novels. And I bought those a long time ago. They're kind of vintage. I mean, they're like 90s, but they're older, whatever. Anyway, Out of Africa, Karen Blixen, gonna read that. And then May, the prompt is a random choice. And so I think I'm just gonna leave that one open for now, because I'll see kind of where I'm at, what I'm feeling like reading, and maybe do some kind of a mood read from my list. June, the prompt is something set in the US, and so I chose Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Never have read that, but my daughter read it her senior year of high school, and she thinks that I will enjoy it. She really liked it a lot. July's prompt is something with a blue cover, and I'm also leaving that one blank because it is Jane Austen July, and I might just want to, do Jane Austen all month long. But I do have a book, and I didn't take the time to go dig it out, but I have a book that is a collection of Jane Austen's letters with Anne Lefroy. And then it also, I think, has some of Anne Lefroy's just own personal family letters in there. And anyway, I'm pretty positive that it has a blue cover. And while the compilation isn't, older than 1970, whatever she's got on there, the letters obviously are. So I think that would count. So that's kind of what I'm keeping in the back of my mind, unless I come up with something else. For August, the prompt is to read something that is over 500 pages, and that is the month that I'm gonna read Gone with the Wind. I was thinking about reading it for March of the Mammoths, and then I realized that my copy is only 736 pages. And it has to be 800, so guess I gotta move that one. So I'm gonna do it in August. I'm gonna really attempt it. All right, and then September's prompt is a female author. For that one, I chose Mary Poppins by P.L. Travers. I'm reading that for my daughter. My oldest daughter adores Mary Poppins, so I'm gonna read that story. October, the prompt is a new to me author. For that one, I put down Winchester Meads by Emma Marshall. That is the month for Victober, and this is a Victorian novel. I think it's 1891 maybe. This book is hard to find. It is like $50 at least wherever you go. Most of the ones I found are shipping from the UK, and also got another 25 or so on there. So this gives me a lot of time to find it, but I wanted to read it because it is set in Winchester, and one of my favorite places. So I'll find it. That's my birthday month too, so I can also feel justified in splurging a little bit if I end up having to buy one of those antique first editions off of Abe Books for like $75. Okay, for November, the prompt is a cozy comfort read, and for that one I chose Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. I've heard good things about this, and I've heard several people say it's their favorite book or one of their very favorites, and they love it so much. And so that will be the month that I give Elizabeth Gaskell another try because I think that I'm reading North and South earlier in the year for something else that I'll get to in a minute. And then December, the prompt is a nostalgic reread. So that one I will decide in December. What do I want to reread that I love? I always read A Christmas Carol in December, so I kind of feel like that would be cheating because I really do read it every single year. But I don't know, we'll see. And then I wrote just kind of a note here on the bottom. I'm also reading Pickwick Papers throughout, until I finish that up. And that's on my 50 by 50. And then also the Sydney Psalter that I've talked to you guys about before, where it's the rewritten Psalms. That one I'm going to be reading throughout the year with alongside my Bible study. So this gives me 9 to 10 done off of my 50 by 50 list, depending on what I choose for May. If I choose, a classic off my list, fine. If I choose something else, then, I'll just have 9. So that's my plan. Now the deal with the 50 by 50 is I don't actually have to read them, I just need to try them. So if I try them and I DNF, that's okay. I can still check it off of my list. I don't replace it or anything. It's just when I finish my list, then I'll do like a, 54 by 54 or something like that, depending on how old I am when I finish my list. All right, so that's those 2 event things, Anne's Classic Challenge as well as my 50 by 50 challenge. And then the next one I'm joining, this is something I've never joined before. This is Emily's Reading Salon group reads over at Prose and Petticoats. I have been watching her for quite a while. I just love the atmosphere of her channel. I believe she's in Belgium, and she's always talking about classics that just seem so intimidating to me. But this is the year that I do want to push through, and I feel like I kind of want to force myself into the next level of reading comprehension. So I kind of talk about that now and then, just how our reading comprehension changes and I believe that it's kind of like a muscle that can be worked and grown and taught if we work at it and if it's, something that's important to us. So I kind of just want this year to be a year at which I sort of stretch that muscle. So I am challenging myself by joining Emily's reading group because there are some things on here that I don't think will be difficult as far as like understanding the vocabulary. But the problem will be that a lot of these books take place in parts of history or in places in the world that I really don't know a whole lot about that history. And so I feel like the struggle will just try to get my minds into the setting of the story. It might be a little difficult, but that is a perfect opportunity for all of that deep dive, digging and research and stuff that I talked about. So I'm probably going to surprise myself, and it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. So I'm going to give you this list real quick, and then I'll send you, there's a link down the description box to Emily's video where she talks about these more in depth. And then she has a Patreon where you can join and get on the book club. There's a Discord, that you can get on once you join the Patreon and have the discussions and things. And I just think it's going to be a good challenge. I'm going to start it. We'll see if I finish it, but I really want to. So for January, it's Notes from the Underground as well as The Gambler, so 2 short stories by Dostoevsky. In February, it's Belle Amie by Guy de Maupassant, which didn't I just show you guys a short story collection by Guy de Maupassant like not even 2 months ago? I cannot find it. I have no idea what I did with it, but it's somewhere, and I don't even know if it has that story in there, so I might have to, some of these I'm gonna have to purchase for sure, and that might be one of them. For March, it's North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, right? So I've gotta confront her in March. For April, it's Camille by Alexander Dumas Jr., so it's Alexander Dumas' son. May, Sophocles plays. There's 3 Sophocles plays. It's Antigone and Oedipus the King and Electra. For June through August, we are reading The Mysteries of Paris by Eugene Sue. And I think it's like almost 1,400 pages. It's gonna be fine. But I guess The Mysteries of Paris is the book that influenced The Count of Monte Cristo as well as Les Miserables. So, and I've never read either of the 2 of those. So I'm like, well, do I read The Count of Monte Cristo and Les Miserables first? Or do I read what influenced it first. I don't know. I mean, I guess this is what I'm gonna do because there's no way I'm fitting either one of those chunkers in before the summer. And then in September, it is A Pair of Blue Eyes by Thomas Hardy. Yep, I'm stuck reading Thomas Hardy again, guys. October is 2 short stories, Chess by Stefan Zweig and The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe. Which, that one is one that MLM Lion reads. So, and I have no idea what it's about. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing like why did Beth Brower include Werther in that, right? Like, there's some kind of symbolism there. Surely there's some kind of symbolism there. And then for November, it's The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. So I know that I need to read that one. I didn't like Agnes Grey, but I am kind of almost halfway into a biography about Anne Bronte that I just kind of put away when, you know, the cozy season started, and I'll probably finish it up in January or February, but I'm becoming more sympathetic. It wasn't that I never liked Anne, it's just that I thought she's kind of boring, which this author did as well, and that's why she wrote this book, and apparently she had a revelation and now Anne's her favorite, so it's really just kind of like a Bronte everything biography. So, you know, I'm learning a lot though. There's a lot of information in that I was not aware of. All right, so that is the challenge with Emily at Prose and Petticoats. I have a note to here to myself, go slow, these are challenging. Okay, and then I have my personal historical deep dive. So for the last couple of years I've done Historathon, and that is something that is hosted by Vin at Revenant Reads. And each quarter of the year, you read nonfiction from a certain era. So like first quarter will be like, you know, ancient times, the beginning, whatever, through the year 500. The second quarter is like 500 to 1500. The third one I think is 1500 to 1820. And then the fourth is, you know, 1820 to present. And I really love Historathon. I really love reading historical nonfiction. However, my favorite eras of Historathon are the first two. The third one, I don't know, like I like to read Jane Austen. But the fourth one is modern and I'm just like, bleh, I don't want to read anything. So it's kind of like, can we just do the first two eras all year long? And I was like, you know, I could just do that. It's okay. So I think that I'm going to really focus on the historical era that I'm interested in, and then when it lines up with Historathon, then I'm doing Historathon, and when it doesn't, then I'm not. So I actually have a list of 8 books here. I'm really interested in studying the Middle Ages. I've been thinking about this for a few months now. So, you know, medieval times, Middle Ages. I actually wrote a note to myself, what is the difference between Middle Ages, medieval era, and the Dark Ages? And so I looked it up. So the Middle Ages is what they call like the 5th through the 15th centuries. Then the Dark Ages are kind of the earlier part of that, like the 5th through the 10th centuries. And apparently that's not the proper thing to say anymore. Now we have to say the early Middle Ages. And then medieval is an adjective that describes the Middle Ages. So that helped. So I want to do just some reading, some nonfiction study about that era. And I'm pretty sure that I will pick up kind of some side quests as far as fiction stories to go along with all of this. So I have 8 books that I picked out off of my shelf that have just been kind of hanging out waiting for me to get to them, because what happens is I'll get to that portion of, you know, Historathon, and I'll read a bunch, but then it moves to the next era and I'm like, oh, I can't read this anymore. And now I'm like, you know what? I can read whatever I want. So these are the 8 that I've picked out. I do have a bunch more, but we'll start with these. So this one is called In Search of the Dark Ages by Michael Wood. I got this from Waterstones in either Bath or Winchester. I think it was in Bath just past summer, and it says A History of Anglo-Saxon England. So I thought that would be really interesting. It says it's a best-selling classic, fully revised and expanded. So This is not the first version of this book, but if they're continuously revising and expanding it, must be a pretty good book, right? So I'm gonna go through that one. This I picked up last year for Historathon 2025, and then I just never got to it. That is Meetings with Remarkable Manuscripts, 12 Journeys into the Medieval World by Christopher de Hamel. And there are so many illustrations, photographs, scans, whatever in this. I love this. I cannot wait. So 12 different manuscripts and just talking about them. I've had the opportunity to see some medieval manuscripts, you know, with the beautiful colors and, you know, all of the illuminated writing, and I've seen things at several different churches in England, a couple of different museums, and it's so beautiful. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Another one that I got around that same time was called The Anglo-Saxons, A History of the Beginnings of England from 400 to 1066 by Mark Morris. Now, yes, some of these are going to overlap. That's kind of the point. I'm wanting to read about the same stuff from different perspectives. So hopefully that's what will happen. Then I've got this book that keeps popping up. This is The Medieval Housewife by Toni Mount. I've had this on my TBR card all summer long, kept trying to fit it into something. In the back of my mind, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to read it until I'm like doing the whole medieval thing, like fully in, right? So I got this at the Great Hall in Winchester this past summer. This one I got at Winchester Cathedral this past summer. This is Medieval Tiles by Hans van Limmen. So when you walk across the floor at Winchester Cathedral, you walk on these medieval tiles up at the kind of at the back. It is a crazy experience just to walk on these old painted tiles. This is an example of when they find, you know, a floor just out in the field because there used to be some kind of a cathedral or even home there. And so it shows how you've got, you know, they're pulling back the grass to reveal something very ancient. That just blows me away. That's just the coolest thing ever. So looking forward to this. The ones in Winchester Cathedral look kind of like, I don't know about this pattern, but just kind of like that, where it's like on the floor and it's kind of like a reddish orange and then a kind of a slate color. Just so pretty. And sometimes when I've gone, they'll have like a reproduction tile in the gift shop that you can buy. And I never did, and now, you know, the last few times they haven't been putting them in, so I hope they'll bring that back because that would just be cool to have, just because. Next one, this is The Black Death and the Transformation of the West by David Herlihy. I am not exactly sure where I got this, but it's just like a short little book about the bubonic plague, Black Plague. This one I've had for years. This is the Book of Kells. It's put together by Bernard Meehan as far as like commentary and stuff. But this is the illuminated Bible that they had at Kells when they were raided by the Vikings, and they hid this away. And I don't know the whole story, that's why I'm gonna read the book. But you can see the Book of Kells at, where is that, Trinity College? Yeah, in Dublin. But from what I understand, like they just rush you through there. So if I ever go to see the Book of Kells, I am going like on a Tuesday at 11 or something, where it's just like hopefully not a super busy time. Because if I'm gonna go all the way to see this, like I don't want to be rushed through there. I can't even remember who told me that. But anyway, I've had this book since 2009 according to the inside of it. So I need to read it. In fact, you know what? I think I probably have read this, but I've had it for almost 20 years. So it's due for a reread because I don't remember hardly anything except for the fact that I may have already read it. And then finally, I've got this book called Medieval Women Writers. This is edited by Katarina Wilson. I'm gonna really enjoy, I think, going through these. A lot of it is poetry, but there are some that look like, you know, essays or whatever, but a good part of it is like songs and poetry. It's a University of Georgia Press copy. I love finding things like that you know, are just something that was kind of put out just for a niche sort of audience. So that is my 8 Middle Ages nonfiction reads for this coming year. Will I get to all of them? I don't know. I'll probably just read them until I'm bored with it, and if I'm never bored with it, then I'll just read them till I'm done, and if I do get bored with it, they can go back on the shelf for whenever I feel the urge again. Alright, and then finally, I talked about this months ago, but I finally got the journal all ready. I finished it today. It was a matter of gluing in like one paper. Two papers actually. But this is my Around the World reading challenge. It's kind of like a lifetime challenge. I got this idea from Debs at Raina Read Stuff. She has kind of like a Reading the Globe challenge or whatever that she's made for herself. So the beginning of the book, I've got this map here. That's the whole world. And then the front of it, I just kind of wrote, I'm blocking it because I wrote the coordinates to my house. But it says, Reading the Globe Challenge, a lifetime goal of reading books set all around the world, started by Mrs. Sarah Coller, December 12th, 2025. And then the name of my town in Arkansas, USA, and then the coordinates to my house. So then I've just taken and I've got maps of different sections of the world, obviously USA, and all of the states and territories inhabited and uninhabited and disputed even. And they're all listed here with a little box for checking off. And so the deal is I'm gonna read a book set in these places. So it's not about reading like authors from these places, it's about reading books that are set in these places. Or, you know, feature strongly in the book. So for instance, like The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan, the book technically everybody's in the US, but the mothers are always like looking back to China and thinking back on China. And so if I were to read The Joy Luck Club, I would mark China rather than the US, because, you know, that's the culture we're really reading about, and most of it takes place there in their memories, if that makes sense. All right, and then for each page after the US map, I've got just blank for like whatever that is, 50, 60, 70 pages, because on each one of those I'm gonna put the map of whatever state, you know, the book takes place in. So it's Pennsylvania, I'll put a map of Pennsylvania, and then I'll mark on the map where the places were. It's kind of an in-depth little study. And then I'll write out just a short summary about the book that I read. Everybody only gets one place on here, right? So once I've read Pennsylvania, then it doesn't mean I can't ever read a book set in Pennsylvania again. It just means, you know, I don't add it to my this book anymore. So for all the countries, I've got that. I even allowed for the fact that some countries sometimes say they're Asian and sometimes say they're European and sometimes say they're African, and there's a little dispute there sometimes. I've allowed for that. And then I've even got an Antarctica in here. Antarctica is the only one that I didn't write any like actual places, you know, because if it's set at McMurdo, awesome. If it's set off on an island or something, like I've never even seen a book set in Antarctica. So if you know of one that you think that I might like, let me know. That one might be hard. But I'll write that in as I go if I ever encounter anything set in Antarctica. And then the rest of the book is just these blank pages. And so what I will do is just as I go, you know, as I read something, I will write in and just fill in the rest of this with little summaries and things about the books that I read in the different places. So this is intended to just kind of like stay with me my whole life and see how many I can really get. And then maybe someday somebody will pick it up and try to finish it, right? If I don't finish it. But I just think I just think that's a great idea. It gets me, I mean, how many rabbit trails am I going to end up on, right? Reading books set in all kinds of different places that I've never heard of and know nothing about. So really looking forward to that. Starts today, so as soon as I finish the Poirot I'm on, England will be my first, you know, the UK will be my first little color in place on there, although I am going to draw a line at the Scottish border and only color in England. And then, you know, I'm dividing it even if in my book it does say United Kingdom. So anyway, those are my year-long reading events that I have planned to do. I am super excited about 2026. I get excited about every new year, right? But I don't know. I just think it's going to be such a great year. Like, I feel like I'm in a good place. My family's in a good place. My crazy's in a good place. I'm just really, really excited about it. And I'm looking forward to a year of just learning a lot of stuff. I think this last year was kind of like my year of chill and just like mood read and, you know, participate in stuff if you want to, quit stuff if you want to, DNF all over the place, and just sort of chill. And it was a great reading year for that. But this coming year, I'm like, all right, time to challenge yourself a little bit. So looking forward to that. All right, guys, love to hear whatever it is you want to tell me in the comments, but just say hi at least. I'll be back tomorrow with another Bookmas video. So have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.